have every Wednesday and Friday morning on 96.7.
Get your day started right with the Morning Connection. Weekday mornings, 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. right here on Fit FM 96.7. Connect with Julia Mikkel Benaya on the Morning Connection for news, business and artist promotions, great music and vibe. Morning Connection with Julia Mikkel Benaya, 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. weekdays on Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
This is Lady T, Denise Gomez, host and producer of Inside the Zone in New York, the community platform where information is guaranteed. Join me on Mondays at 5 on Fit 96.7, fitfmja.com, Trelawney's Radio, your life, your music, for exciting features within the diaspora. And hear what's on our minds. It's live at 5 on Fit 96.7, fitfmja.com.
Saturdays at 4 p.m. Join Fit FM 96.7 fitfmja.com for a simulcast of Primal Sports, an interactive sports program produced by Primal Media and presented by top sports activists. So tune in to a simulcast of Primal Sports on Fit FM 96.7, fitfmja.com, and primal4k.com.
News Brief in a minute. News provided by credible sources and presented by Fit FM 96.7 inside the Fit Zone weekdays on the hour. News Brief in a minute inside the Fit Zone on Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
Blessings and light. This is Aymara, the musical revolutionary. Your host and the community buzz on Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music. This and every Monday at 3 p.m. From the home to the community to the wider world. Let us be the change we want to see. Join me this and every Monday at 3 p.m. on the community buzz on Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music. Fit mind, fit body, fit community, fit world. This is Aymara, the musical revolutionary, on the community buzz on Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
Before God and all mankind, I pledge the love and loyalty of my heart, the wisdom and courage of my mind, the strength and vigor of my body in the service of my fellow citizens. I promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood, and peace, to work diligently and creatively, to think generously and honestly, so that Jamaica may, under God, increase in beauty, fellowship, and prosperity, and play her part in advancing the welfare of the whole human race.
Struggle goes on. We are the builders of the pyramids. We are the builders of the stone cities of Zimbabwe. We build them White House. We build them factories. With blood, with sweat, with tears. With flesh, with bones. Them use build them economy. Now them want come con you and me. With them science and them technology. We make them take with knowledge. Now them are deafly. Them are blindly. We are walk, we are ride, we are drive, we are fly. Not see. Eyes focus on the screen of an iPhone, Galaxy, tablet, Blackberry. Wake up, look. Uno no sister them a bury with. Ancestors crying out. Them a weep, you see we heading back to slavery. Robotic, digital, technological slavery. The rich take them session, call it recession, left the world in depression. Legal and illegal drugs and alcohol on the rise, in dear interest. To our demise, we patronize, now become marginalized, make fools seem wise, because we are by them lies and sell with lives, prostituting our sons, daughters, and wives. Marcus did rise, Sam Sharp did rise, Bogle did rise, Taki did rise, Queen and Zinga did rise, Harriet Tubman rise, Rosa Parks rise, Malcolm X rise, Frederick Douglass rise, Ancestors rise. Eileen Thomas said, Aymara rise, organize, mobilize, visualize. Stop look through for them eyes and through your own eyes. Give them back them gadgets. Free yourself from debt. The robotic digital technology of we are live on credit. While we learn our property, them take it, sell it. Guard your mind. Guard your children mind. But we are a puppet government. Them ready to sell it. It's up to me and you to stop it. Come. Make we do it. Yes. Come make we do it. Good afternoon, I must say grand afternoon, yeah, to the people out there in radio world, those who are on the World Wide Web, you know what I mean? This is Aymara the Musical Revolutionary, and we are on the Community Buzz on Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music. Yes, we are on www.fitfmja.com. Yes, and we are also on www.primal4k.com. Yes, we are worldwide. How are you doing across Jamaica? You know, those in Trelawney, those in St. Ann, those in Hanover, right? Those people out there in St. James, right? We are healing up the people over there in St. Elizabeth. We are healing up people over Manchester. Edgerton, Newman, Mackenzie. Edgerton, Mackenzie, I mix you up. See, oh, you do, man, you know, we can talk more than religion, you know. One of the time I'm going to invite the eye to, you know what I mean, if you have a religious discourse and the impact of politics and to see how them thing they work, you know, with social justice and all of these things, because these topics are very important for us to explore, you know. So may I bless up the people, you know what I mean, around this beautiful parish that we call Trelawney, a very industrious parish. I was talking to a sister today, this morning. Hopefully we will have her on next week, you know what I mean, on the Community Buzz. She's over there in Ghana. And guess where she come from? Trelawney, you know, one place named Litchfield on the border of southern Trelawney. So, you know, there are so many people from this parish across the world doing great things, you know. Last week we have Mr. Patrick Beckford here in studio, you understand? So I know in the back in New Jersey, you know. Bless up yourself, Patrick Beckford, you know. Bless up yourself, Denton Hutch. How you doing, my brother? You know what I mean? Love and light, my brother, you know. There are so many things that we have to discuss, and you are one of the dedicated listener, you know, and supporting this movement, because we see it as a movement. And why we see it as a movement is because it's centered around community, you know. and the conceptualizer of this radio station, Umoja. And we are talking about Umoja, unity to strive for and maintain unity in family, community, nation, and race. Saying, and we have the community buzz. We have to understand the sacredness of what we call community, you know, because even your own biological system is like a community. If you check it deep, it's a community. You know, you can't function without your heart, your lungs, your kidneys, you know what I mean? And all the other organs that make the body function efficiently, you know what I mean? So when you observe that, when we talk about community and when we talk about socialism, which we are going to discuss, you know what I mean, we realize that this is not a concept developed by man, you know what I mean. Man must come to discover it, you know, but it's not a concept. It is there from life, from the inception, that we have to harmonize with life and nature and things around us, you know, and we can't separate ourselves from life itself because we are one with that divine intelligence, you know. So this is who we are here on the Community Buzz, you know. And this afternoon, we are going to talk to, you know, a Pan-Africanist, educator, social activist, you know, and somebody who's always advocating for human rights, especially Black people, without any apology, you know what I mean? A true revolutionary, my sister, Dana Mattis. She will be here on the community Buzz in a few, you know what I mean? So we are giving thanks. We are giving thanks for this moment, you know. We are always observing the principle of balance, the principle of Ma'at, you know, the principle of Ubuntu, you know what I mean, that will guide us to our highest state, you know, to keep us together, that we see ourselves in each other, because that is how the life is, you know what I mean. So we're shouting out to the people to understand the whole structure of life, you know what I mean, and I really look outside of yourself for that. Just deep breathe, you know, sit in and pay attention to your own biological system, your own spiritual expression, you know, the things that are around you, you know what I mean. When you go outside and you stand up on the earth, man, you know, so you have to kick off on the shoes enough time, you know what I mean, too much shoes, and just go outside, man, go ground with nature, feel the sun on your skin, you understand, that some vitamin D can penetrate all of that internal organs, you know what I mean. And breathe, you know what I mean, consciously, you know, because a lot of us, we breathe, but it's unconscious state, you know what I mean, and it is always shallow. Get deeper with your breath and understand that the power is within all of that, you know what I mean. That is the sustenance, the spirit, the energy, you know, the vibration, you understand? We can't go days without water, you know. We can't go days, 20 odd days without food if you want, 40 days, you know, without food if you want. But this important thing that you call breath, it is continuous. And the moment you put it in, and for a while, you maybe can hold it. But, you know what I mean? It is the whole principle of reciprocity. If you want to understand reciprocity, observe the breath. You know what I mean? So it go and so it returns. Something always exchanging. The one you take, the one that out, the one you take, you know. So that's the deepness of life. And we love that kind of vibration and expression. And that is why we say, when we talk about socialism, when we talk about communal living, that's the whole principle. You know what I mean? Capitalism is something different, you know what I mean? Because socialism is not to dominate, but to harmonize. Capitalism is always something authoritarian, to dominate others and to show people that, yes, we are in power. And, you know, we have the odd, and then you show the power of your military might, you show the power of your economic might, and all of these things. And if you observe these things, it will not bring the kind of harmony, the kind of unity within humanity. You see me and say? And that is why we have to discuss these things in depth. We can shallow, in a shallow way, talk about it. And some people shy away from it. I mean, what the reason? It's because they don't really understand it. It's because they don't really explore it. It's because of the propaganda, that spread about it by those who want to maintain the power structure that is governing the world for centuries. Centuries. So we have to dig deep. And sometimes we talk about, that's why I'm glad I go talk to a Pan-Africanist, because she's unapologetic about a whole heap of things, just like me. You see me I say? Because sometimes we talk about Haitian Kemet, and sometimes we talk about some great kings and who used to rule. And when you look on how their system did set up, you realize it was a system where they tried to dominate and to manipulate, and oppress people in all sort of way. See, I, Morel, Bowjen, greetings and oneness. So me just there and I go play your tune. Listen out, my sister. And where she come from again? Austria. Tell me where you come from. Send me a text, and because as far away over there in Europe, you see, you are vibing me. To some, what you say? To some, it can be a painful confrontation with the self. You are so right. You are so right. And you should not confront yourself, It's not, yourself shouldn't be a place, a system of, when you deal with yourself, it's just be with it. Don't confront. Just be. You understand? Just be. And if you can observe your inner power, you will realize that, you don't really have to fight yourself. I can have a song when I call Don't Fight Yourself. How terrible it is to be your own enemy. Where can you find peace having war internally? You understand? So just be present. That's all you have to do. You know what I mean? Because the moment that you are outside of self, you understand, you can distance you from all your emotional and the other psychological things that are happening. You are in control of that. You can take control of that, the way you want to function and the way you want to operate, So you have that power to create whatever you want inside of you, whether misery or whether blissfulness. Some people believe, say, none of them have that kind of power. So them show it off to what external God, or sometimes them blame the devil so much. I believe the devil, people, especially Christian people, then give the devil so much power. Everything, if I them go outside and them buck them to, they say Satan. So Satan is always being empowered, especially by Christians or religious people. It's a funny thing. So much thing happening in the country. Me see a little piece of news. I hope me can go back to it quick. Where, let me see where you're going. Jamaica Constable Force, JCF trainee suspected to have drowned the police Tranquility Bay training facility in Treasure Bay, St. Elizabeth, Monday. The cop has so far not been located due to rough sea conditions. Them find him now. Yeah, wow. Saying so condolences to, the JCF, and condolences to Mustafa, to the family, of this young 19-year-old police officer. This is the journey of life, somebody who maybe set out to serve his country, it is what it is, you know what I mean? And them not locating body yet, you know what I mean? So, yeah, see, he was a dedicated young man committed to serving his country, and his loss is felt deeply within our ranks, the High Command said in a media release. The police said the preliminary investigation has revealed that after the completion of their morning physical training, Pike and a few fellow recruits ventured to a section of the beach to alleviate muscle fatigue. In a tragic turn of event, Pike lost his life attempting to aid a fellow recruit who had gotten into difficulty in the water. The GSCF says, despite being a stronger swimmer, Pike was overcome by a strong undertow. Yeah. Yes. So it is what it is. This is nature. And he's a 19-year-old, trainee. This is nature. And, sometimes when we believe that we are that skillful, nature shows you, say, we really have power. This is the power that you have to confront. That is how nature operates. See, so we're going to play a piece of music from Mickey B. See, over there. It's Austria. Let me know, my sister. Let me know, because sometimes we have so much things. Just send in a text and remind us. And bless up the people over there in Europe. See, and give thanks that you are tuning in to the community buzz. See? So we'll take a break, and when we come from that break, we will, talk with Donny Mattis.
Oh, hail to the mother. Oh, hail to the mother.
This is Fit FM 96.7. Duncan Stroloni.
Your soldiers marching through her softness. She embraced you. You are welcome. And now you want to show her all about your hardness. What's the matter with you? Are you clueless? Let me remind you. Oh, hail to the mother of creation. She gave birth to every single nation. Oh, hail to the mother of creation. Let's balance this equation. All hail to the mother of creation. She gave birth to every single nation. All hail to the mother of creation. Let's balance this equation. All hail to the mother. She guides you all along in the darkness. She protects you. You are welcome. The patriarch.
Yes. Mickey B over there in Belgium. All hail to the mother of creation. See? And let's what? Balance this equation. And that's what we're talking about. The balancing of the equation. You know what I mean? The mother, the father, the child. It is not no Father, Son, and no Holy Ghost. You understand? It's mother, father, and child. And there is where the balance is. You know what I mean? And that is what we are doing here on the community buzz. This is how we understand the family unit. Mother, father, child. That's the foundation. You understand? And that's why we say on the community buzz our tagline, from the home to the community to the wider world. We will be the change that we want to see. And we must honor the mother of creation. And we have a mother of creation right here to honor, and to hear her views, because most of the time when you listen to talk show, you hear pure man. And when you look on the world is run by some guys, who have been dictating how things must operate for centuries, and that is the patriarchal dominance. I will always say that, and some people maybe will say, "Why, you keep saying these things, But it is what it is, and that is the reason why we are in the condition and the situation that we are in today. If you want to know what is affecting you, pay attention to what is happening, and that's what we are doing. So I must introduce to you all our sister, Dana Mattis. Dana Mattis, how are you doing, sister?
I'm happy to be here. I'm Mara, and I just got some showers, of rain showers. So I'm
So you're
doubly
cool down.
happy.
So you're kind of cool down in a Kingston.
Yeah, because I mean, when I saw I actually saw the rain coming down, I almost ran out in the rain, and just because it was as if I hadn't seen rain before. Because I've been wanting to see rain for months. It didn't rain for a long time, for about half an hour, and it's gone. But I'm sure tonight my house will feel cooler.
Yes, give thanks for that. Give thanks for every small blessings, even
Yeah.
just one half an hour shower, what I mean? It does something very wonderful. My sister, this is a Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music, this is the community buzz. We are also smallcasting on primal4k.com, so I want to give a shout out to Neema and give a shout out to Joel Muyong over there in the United States of America. My dear sister, we spoke at length, since, we planned this program. And the thing that we plan to explore or analyze is two political economic system, socialism and capitalism, right? I want for you to introduce yourself to the people, just give the people a heads up of who Dana Mattis is and the work that you have been doing over the years, and then we can go into the whole program. Introduce yourself to the people.
Okay. Well, I'm Dana Mattis, as everybody listening knows. From your introduction, I grew up. I think who I am today, my awareness, I credit to growing up in a household where my parents, especially my older sister and my mother, they used to constantly discuss history and politics and current affairs. And although I was just a small girl, I would listen, and it resonated, so I was like the only 7-year-old in primary school, who was talking about current affairs with my teacher and history. And I got that from my home environment. So I had that background, and I went on to UWI, and I did a degree in politics, and it's a double major, politics and history. And then I went on and I did a master's degree in history. So I taught at Immaculate Conception for a few years, and then I left, and I was working for a newspaper out here, and writing columns, and then so I'm a teacher, really. That call ourselves educators. No, so I'm a teacher. I'm a Pan-Africanist, because I believe that I have to maintain that connection with Africa, because Africa is my roots. Africa is where I came from. I'm only over here because of an interruption in the history of Africans. So that's why it's like I'm stranded. You know, there was a shipwreck and I'm stranded over here. But my roots is in Africa, and so I cannot forget Africa. I mean, when Africa hurts, I hurt. You know, I am a Black nationalist because coming out of the experiences of slavery and colonialism and what was done to our people, I don't see how I cannot help but be a Black nationalist, because the oppression continues. Not many realize, but we're not free. We're not totally liberated. So I try to, you know, do a lot of writing and activism and advocacy that is geared towards human rights in general, and in particular the rights of Africans, of Black people. And that is you know, that's what I have been doing to bring awareness and consciousness to our people, because not many, I would say probably the majority of our people are still mentally enslaved, and that has proven worse than the chains that were around our feet. You know, it's the chains around our mind that is holding us back as people.
Yes.
So
yes,
I do a lot of, I think it's my duty to my people to help to bring them to that consciousness, because that is the only way we will be totally free and be able to reclaim what was our past, reclaim ourselves, re-people ourselves. That is what we need to do. We need to re-people ourselves, because we were dehumanized and racialized by white supremacists, and a lot of our people are still holding on to those you know, beliefs. So I think it's the social purpose of each and every one of us as Black people to help us to restore our humanity. So that I see that as my purpose.
Yeah, you see that as your responsibility, and you are committed to it. I see also we are a part of Advocates Network, and we see we are Advocates Network, you know, really engaged in the whole constitutional reform, you know, and you are also a part of that group making recommendation. You want to elaborate on that a little, you know?
Yes.
And the reason that you see,
when was it? When William came last year.
Yes.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, man, we know who we are talking. The one who, yeah.
I think that was when the Advocates Network really, you know, came into more forcibly onto the landscape, because they organized a protest against you know, the visit, and it was foundation of it was you know, reparations and an apology for slavery and colonialism. So that was when I informally became a part of the Advocates Network, because I was a signatory to the letter that they wrote, 60 reasons why you were to apologize. Yes. So there were 100 signatures, and I was part of the number of signatures that signed that letter. Then I became a formal member last year, just about when Clifton, you remember the demolition of the homes, supposedly squatter homes, squatter with quotes, because I don't know how, I don't like squatter, the term, it's derogatory. Yeah. And I believe that the land belongs to the Jamaican people.
The people, yes.
belongs to them. So when you're calling them squatters and you're throwing them off the land, you're doing exactly what the colonials did at emancipation, because after they didn't have any further use for our ancestors. They just threw them off the land. So where were they to go? So I became a part of formally became a member, and I have been writing, I've been involved in writing like press releases and speaking to the media whenever we send out particular press releases. The media will call and they will ask for interviews. So I on a few occasions I've spoken on behalf of the network. We are now concentrating, of course, on the constitutional reform process. And on Friday, after much advocacy, because the Constitutional Reform Committee really began in a kind of clandestine, closeted way, in that they had already gone ahead and made their decision that they were removing the monarch, replacing it with a president, a non-executive president, a ceremonial president, and we felt that it was not enough. So we started our advocacy, and eventually they invited us to make a submission to the committee. So we did that on Friday. Professor Rosalia Hamilton, who is the co-chair, did that on Friday. I helped with the drafting of the presentation, helped with the writing and the drafting of it. So that's where we are now. The Advocates Network. I was also a part of this group of academics out of London, led by Cecil Gutsmore. We were working on kind of like giving anatomy to Walter Rodney, because Walter Rodney is one of those very, 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 very important revolutionary figures in the Caribbean. The thing is, he was killed at such a young age, but if you use his writings, what he said, if you look at all the things he said and all of his work, it sort of gave you an indication of what could have been if this man wasn't killed, wasn't assassinated. So what we were trying to do was to finish, flesh out some of his ideas and philosophy, and try to apply it, see how we can apply it to the liberation struggle that continues. But I think one of the problems, though, that we had, because the group eventually disbanded, and I think that one of the problems that we had is that they were kind of antithetical to what Walter Rodney was himself, because they were kind of very academic, in academia. And Walter Rodney was that person who woke up every morning, put on him clothes, and him go up to university, and him lecture. And when him done, he was out there in the community with the people. Yes. Yeah. And I think that they could not understand that. I brought it up a few times, and I said that, if we're going to if we're going to, be trying to invoke Rodney in the present state, we can't just stay around our computers and do that. We need to have web conferences, because they used to have web conferences, and so we cannot do that. We need to get down into the trenches with the people. Of course.
Yeah. You see, you talk about Walter Rodney, and I was glancing through, some part of the submission that you and the Advocate Network made on Friday. And I just read a part here. We are guided by the democratic principle of a constitution
Mhm.
is not the act of a government, but
Mhm.
of people constituting a government, of people
Mhm.
constituting a government,
Mhm.
and should be
Mhm.
rooted in the will and consent of the people. We therefore are actively engaging Jamaicans at home and abroad in rethinking and reshaping the fundamental principles and structures and power of the government of Jamaica. This is necessary to forge a national consensus about the rights and responsibility of both the government of Jamaica and the people of Jamaica, about the government of Jamaica and the people of Jamaica, as well as foster popular participation, consent, legitimacy in the constitutional reform process and its outcome. Now, when I look at that, right, the participation of the people, I was reading Michael Mann, The Politics of Change, and I'm looking
Mhm.
on that a whole aspect of people participation in the political movement or in the political system, right? And we realize that that is missing. And you mentioned Walter Rodney a while ago, and that what Walter Rodney was doing is, educating and sensitizing the youth around the community who couldn't be a part of the University of the West Indies, and him know say, these young men and young women, would be left behind, and he took it upon himself to go out and engage them. Since his assassination, I don't know if this is fear. I believe there are a lot of people who have learned from Walter Rodney, are still around. But we don't see that kind of engagement, People maybe stay behind a microphone or in them one little corner when some conference call and everybody go out and intellectualize everything. But the whole thing of being active participant as intellectuals, just like what you and the Advocate Network doing now, which is something that is necessary. We see that there is a new energy in Jamaica. However dark people might see it, and however people might look on Jamaica today, but we see this energy that we will not allow, just like how the Constitution formed in 1962, where it was just 16 people decide what will work for us. And we see this committee, is one less. It is 15 people now, right? So I am happy, that someone like you, and Professor Rosalie Hamilton and others decided, to draft something or craft something and present it to them. Now, it is very important to see how the government will respond to all of that, because we will now realize if we really have a democratic system or an authoritarian system.
And if we're really, if them, when by them I mean them, the powers that be, if they're really interested in changing the constitution, because I get the impression that, to them, reform means breaking away from England, from the UK, and it stopped there, so. But we got a constitution in 1962 that we didn't, I saw a flyer yesterday. This group, I can't remember the name, but I think it's a Christian group, Christian Families in something, and they're having a talk on the constitution, and they have invited 2 members from the reform committee there, and on the flyer I saw the meeting will be held at Norman Manley's last place of residence, and they continue to say that Norman Manley is the father or the drafter, the chief drafter of the 1962 Constitution.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that because in the first place, Norman Manley was handed a constitution from the colonials. I'm not saying that he didn't have any sort of input in it, but if Norman Manley had an input in the constitution that we got in 1962, I don't see how he could have endorsed that constitution, because that constitution kept us enslaved. It's kept us enslaved and to the former enslaver. And I wouldn't even call them former enslavers either, because they're still in control. One of the most egregious things that Norman Manley did was to entrench, leaving the monarch entrenched it in the constitution. So we can't just wake up tomorrow morning and say, okay, we want to leave, and we give them notice and we leave. We have to call a referendum. Why? Why do we have to call a referendum to ask the former our oppressors to leave? So Norman Manley to me is not somebody that I'm not saying that he didn't contribute to Jamaican politics, but in terms of the legacy that he left, I think he was a neo-colonialist who had absolutely no confidence in his people. He had no confidence in the ability of his own people to govern themselves, and that is why he has made it so hard for us to leave. Imagine the ignominy of going to the people to ask them, should we leave England or not?
Yes.
You know, so I have very, very little respect for Norman Manley in that terms. In that sense, I wouldn't even bother with Buster Manty, because he wasn't as
Yeah, you see the reality, as you said, he wasn't a decisive leader. Yeah, I mean,
no.
And when you look at what, you know, me have an old copy of it where me always work with, see, and when you start to read it, you realize about this thing is not really a constitution in the sense of the people making a decision. This is more like a order as stated in it. You know what I mean? The Queen Most Excellent Majesty in Council, Her Majesty, by virtue and in exercise of the powers in that behalf by subsection 1 of section 5, all of them little term there, of the West Indies Act 1962. Otherwise, in her vested is pleased by and with the advice of her Privy Council to order, and it is hereby ordered as follow. So it's like them a give an order to them slaves, which them still see as them property, because the Jamaica is still a colony that they own. You see me I say? And if them own Jamaica as their property, whoever live on the property is also their assets and their properties as well.
Exactly.
And that's what, and that is how them think even till today. We must understand, you know, the seriousness, you know, of racism. That is a psychological entrenched system that is affecting our lives as a people. And we can't just, you know.
Remember the Governor General was wearing, I don't know if he's still wearing it, because you can't trust these people. The Governor General was wearing an insignia that had a black man lied on the ground, and a white man with his knee in his
he must wear it, you know. If he don't wear it, he is not the Governor General, you know. He must wear it because he is representing, you see, whether he put it in a cabinet, yes or no, You understand? They all signed up for that because that is what the monarch represent. That's what it represents. So no matter when nobody say, even if you know wear it out in the public, for people to see, and then when people raise that issue, he might make it look like say the first he might notice it, then you should
because he said he didn't see it. He said he didn't see it. So you're wearing something. I've been wearing something for, especially if we're relating to this Governor General. You have been wearing something for how many years now that he has been there as Governor General, and he never saw it. He never saw what he was wearing.
But you saw so many Governor General, and none of them never really see it. That's the bigger question. So much of them, and all of these men are brilliant people. You understand? Are educated people. They could put it that way. See? So none of them no observe this thing that they are wearing and to even question what it represents. Yeah?
And it's an insult to our intelligence to look at us and tell us that you didn't know that you were wearing something that was racist. It's just, and this is the sort of contempt that they have for us, the black people in general. Yes. White people have that contempt for us, and the black people who have they have co-opted, to follow them, amalgamated people. That's what Chinua Achebe call them. The African, the amalgamated Britain. African is the amalgamated Britain. So he's very British. He's not African. He's not black conscious. And you're going to tell us, and all of this. The problem I have is that this is where we are after 400 years of oppression by these people. It's unnatural that we would want to hang on to this legacy, to this heinous history that we experience. I mean, our constitution, it's when at 1962 when we were supposed to be drafting a constitution, we should have what should have been foundational to that constitution is a distinct break with the past. We did not break with the past. We continued. They only left and they took down the flag, and we put up a Jamaican flag, and that was it. We didn't get independence. We got political. We got a negotiated settlement.
Yes. I'm glad you put it that way. I'm glad you put it that way, because we can't even say we get political independence.
No, not even that.
You know what I mean? Having the right to vote is just one thing, and that's why we are going to go a little deeper in the two ideological principle. You understand? Capitalism and socialism, and see how we can define them, that the people can understand. As I was saying in my preamble, that when I observe socialism, is a natural order. It is you, within yourself, harmonizing with life. I am not seeing it as something that is man-made and developed by man. I believe man discovered it within himself and know that this is the way that we must live. Any other way is destruction. We recognize that capitalism is something that is designed, orchestrated by the elite. I am going to read something from Michael Manley, Politics of Change. It is in terms of its educational function, a political party must have a clearly articulated philosophy, a precisely defined set of social objectives, and a broadly conceived political strategy. A large share of its activity should be devoted to the dissemination of these ideas along with their constant discussion so that adaptations of strategy can reflect the accumulated wisdom and common sense of the people themselves. And here we can be quite clear about what is and what is not subject to adaptation. The philosophy of an egalitarian society is a non-negotiable item. You are either an elitist, an egalitarian, or unconscious. A party of change cannot, by definition, be unconscious. It must, therefore, choose between the elitist and the egalitarian model. Once committed, there is no more room for change. So he is precise with what he is saying there pertaining to the elitist and the egalitarian system. Now, make we look into that. What is an elitist system? Is it around capitalism, or that elitist system is also a part of socialism? Because we must say this, so is either or either. If it is egalitarian, it is equality, it is justice and respect for all. And go further with some other things, but we just want to stop this one and explore that a little.
Well, you know, well, we know we have established already that capitalism is elitist. Yeah, it's that word capital. You know, if you break it down and you look at the meaning of capital, what it means, you know, it's financial and it means primacy. Two, you know, so we know that. Now, socialism is of course the opposite of capitalism. It's you look again at the root of it. It's social. Man is a social animal, you know. Yes. So man is it means, it spells community. Yes. Brotherhood, you know. And sometimes I wonder how Christians are so anti-socialist. Mm-hmm. You know, when Christianity itself is supposed to be founded in this idea of brotherhood, of community. Mm-hmm. So the socialism in its purest form then is very antithetical to capitalism. Now, if problems will arise with socialism when it becomes corrupted. Mm-hmm. You know, when like in the Stalinist era, you know, you have it devolved into a bureaucratic, you know, bureaucracy.
Yes.
So there was a separation then from the people at the top. Mm-hmm. And from separation between the people at the top and the rest of the people, and that is the problem that because all of that is antithetical to what the pure socialism is.
Yes.
So so when Michael Manley what the excerpt you read there that Michael Manley said, that I think what he's saying is that a political party has to have some sort of ideology. You have to choose. Yes. And if the ideology then that we're faced with is on the one hand we're faced with capitalism, and then we're faced with socialism, then you have to make a definite choice. And yes. The choice becomes even more critical in our situation as Black people and as people coming out of slavery and colonialism, because we need to, and we still do. We need to right the wrongs of the past. You know,
True.
And we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it under capitalism, because capitalism itself created slavery, and the ideology of race, superior race, dehumanizing one race over the other. So we're not. It may be that capitalism is there is utility in it for white people. And I don't, and I'm just saying that because there is no utility in capitalism. It's anti-human as far as I'm concerned. It's anti-people. It centralizes the individual over the community. So when Michael Manley said that, he's correct. You have to take an ideological stance, and he did in the 70s. He did. Democratic socialism.
Yes, and even that term, I as a leftist, let me use that term. There's somebody who was, I believe he got into problem by adding democratic socialism, because if democracy is fundamental freedom, and if socialism, if you analyze what socialism really is, right, you don't even need to put that other adjective to call it democratic socialism, because socialism is just socialism. You know what I mean? It's like you want to say why, you want to discredit the word socialism when you are going to make it look like you have to pretty it up to call it democratic socialism, like socialism is something that is oppressive in its nature, and it is
it's a dirty word.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So me never like that term, and a whole heap of people did have a problem with that term. What is this thing you call it democratic socialism? You understand?
And I suppose it there's also this suggestion. I think that's what you're saying. There is this suggestion that ideologically socialism is wrong.
That's when you hear the term, that's what it is saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can understand where maybe he was trying to tiptoe through the whole system, knowing that Jamaica is built upon this kind of elite system, and him want to appease the ruling class that was here, that he have to come up against, that he was struggling against, you know what I mean? And he might try, and coming out of that background too, you understand, as a part of that middle ruling elite class in Jamaica. You don't become a leader because when somebody coming from the background of a Norman Manley and Edna Manley, you know what I mean, they are more aligned to the elite, and the monarchy, and we cannot dismiss that, knowing that.
And that is I can't read into his inner stream of consciousness, but I believe that is exactly what he did what he did.
Yes.
Why he made that distinction. It was to sell it. It was to sell the program, the policies that he was going to introduce. You see, the problem with Michael Mann is that he was trying to serve two masters, and you can't do that.
True.
Coming out of the elites, as you rightly said, his mother, his father, he wasn't like the majority of Jamaican people.
Yes. Just give me a break, let me talk, let me heal up a virgin in Canada, Michael Pomoja. And he must say, if we still call our lands in Jamaica crown lands, then the lands belong to the crown, not Jamaica and Jamaicans. And this is what we are talking about when we hear even this kind of colonial definition of crown land. And we know what the crown represents, and even in today, when we are talking about an independent Jamaica, we're still referring to land in Jamaica as Crown land. So it is clear to see that we are being ruled by the Crown. I must apologize to some people because I received a message here from Primal, that we lost us for about maybe about 20 minutes ago. You understand? We know it go. This topic is a hot topic, and sometimes people, don't want to face this kind of topic, but it is what it is. If the system are up against when we attack certain things, you understand? So
Yeah.
so that's what.
Oh, I understand. I understand that because you meet up on that every day.
Every single day, you know what I mean? And when I even apologize and tiptoe around nothing now, because the truth must be expressed, what I mean, in its most naked form.
So it's how they keep the people mentally enslaved. They keep the truth from them. They keep the truth from them, and the thing is, you can try to suppress the truth, but it doesn't change the fact that it is the truth.
Exactly.
You can cut out a man's tongue. You can cut out a man's tongue because you don't he's lying. You cut out his tongue because you don't want people to hear what he has to say. So you're silencing. You try to silence him, but it doesn't change the fact that what he's saying is true. So the forces against us are very, 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 very powerful.
And in order for us to really truly liberated, we have to become even more powerful. And this is not something that we can run away from, because where we find ourselves today, right, is the struggle, the blood, sweat, and tears, and death, of our ancestors. And if we subject ourselves, right, to anything else other than standing up for the truth, what we are doing is betraying the effort, and the sacrifices and the commitment and devotion that our ancestors made, that we can be here, at this moment, having this kind of I'm going to say it, intellectual discourse where enough people don't even want to touch, and I'm happy that you as an educator, and more so, it not really come out of the mouth of some man we just talk, because every time you talk, I can hear the passion, in you, and know that you are somebody who is devoted to this uncompromisingly,
Yeah, you have to be uncompromising, Amari, and you know that.
Yes.
There is no way. The struggle is such that you cannot help but be uncompromising. Because when you begin to compromise, you have already lost with these people.
Yeah.
The order that you're fighting, you have to realize that compromise, you can't compromise,
Cannot.
It's too much. And when you mention the duty that we have to our ancestors, and that is why this whole leaving the crown as head of state really bothered me, and for 60 years, this is the kind of system that we have lived under for 60 years. How does our ancestors feel?
Yes,
it's like we have enslaved them 1 billion times over.
Even in the spiritual world, we keep them in bondage, and the worst part of it, Donna, is when we are also afraid of celebrating our ancestors, and as you talk about the whole thing of Christianity, that should be at the forefront of what socialism is about. You know, we see where our people have been sold an image of a white God as our savior, as our liberator, as, you know, something that we must look up to, you know, while during slavery, we never see this white savior run to the liberation of the people. See, and this white savior was there long before slavery. How this white savior allowed slavery to happen?
Yes.
You know, how, and today our people don't see and understand, you know, the sacrifices and the devotion of our ancestors who understand our spiritual connection to Africa and to our own self.
But you remember what Ben Jockanan said, you know, when your God and your master look the same, then you become agent of your own destruction. And we saw that in slavery, because the missionaries told the missionaries, they say Christianity is very dangerous, you know, because Christianity upheld bondage, it upheld slavery, it endorsed, it participated. The church, the main church of Catholic Church at that time, from 1492, when the Treaty of Tordesillas and the Pope divided the world between Spain and Portugal.
Yes.
And the church participated in slavery. And then the missionaries came, and the missionaries told the slaves that, listen, this is not what the here and now is not important. It's what happens. It's what happens after that. You must. So don't bother yourself. Don't worry yourself with what is happening here. Don't. It's essentially what they were saying is that don't fight your master. Don't resist your master. Serve him.
You know. And even the word serve, you know, we don't get deep into ourselves to understand that, you see, and that's why sometimes you see, with language, you know, language is a serious thing, you know, my sister. You know? And we must learn how to decode language and understand it. You understand? Because it's like you hear people say, some people speak with a fork tongue, you know, them say one thing but mean another. It's the same thing with the language, you know. You see me I say? You know, and you must serve the Lord. You know, which Lord are you talking about? You understand? Rather than serving your community, rather than serving people, you know, you see what you call an illusionary Lord that you walk around within your mind, because you can't define it. You know, somebody give you an image. You understand? You know, in a 8 years before Columbus come across, Leonardo da Vinci, you know what I mean? Get one and cousin for pose, you know, and then him get about 12 prisoners, you know. This is the history, this is historical fact, you know. See, that in the 1400, you know, Leonardo da Vinci did this, you know, and create this portrait of a savior in the middle and some disciples around. It was one of family member in use, and the disciples were some prisoners he took out of prison, seen, and made them pose and created that picture and sold to the black world, and it become fixtures upon our walls in a people house and all about the place, that even black liberation movement, I use it, you know, as a portrait. Even Rastafari, you know, change it round with this Christ and the 12 disciples and all of these things. You see, and so we must look deep into these things and to know that we are talking about socialism and capitalism, but everything are tying. To know that even what people see as the book of truth and guidance, to know that is even after the 1400. It is not until 1611 King James authorized something and said, this is the creed that you must live by. And when you take a stock, they are not living by it. You must be submissive and you must be not rebel. But any little move or anything you say against them find a way to assassinate you, like what they have done to so many of our leaders.
A long graveyard of progressive leaders. A long list of leaders that they have taken out. And that is one of the reasons why we haven't been able to move beyond, all the oppression. Because every time somebody rises up, that will move our race, our people forward. They take them out, to use their terms. They take them out, because this is the term that they use. One who must be taken out.
Yes.
Gaddafi was one of the latest. Must be one of the last persons that they took out.
Sure.
And
sure.
You have the long list before Gaddafi, Lumumba, Sankara, everybody. Bishop.
And Gaddafi wasn't even professing socialism, You understand? And this is something. My sister, we are talking. It's Fit FM, your life, your music. The Community Buzz is a program to educate people. We're asking the people, you can make your contribution. 876-478-9144. 876-513-6668. You can call in. We're going to take a little break, Dana. You can sip on some water if you have any lemonade or whatever you have.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
With piece of music.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Mickey B. We're playing Mickey B again. You know what I mean?
To the mother, oh hail to the mother. Your soldiers marching through her softness, 'cause she embraced you. You are welcome, and now you want to show her all about your hardness. What's the matter with you? Are you clueless? Let me remind you. Oh, hail to the mother of creation. She gave birth to every single nation. Oh, hail to the mother of creation. Let's balance this equation. Oh, hail to the mother of creation. She gave birth to every single nation. Oh, hail to the mother of creation. Let's balance this equation. Oh, hail to the mother. She guides you all along in the darkness. She protects you. You are welcome. The patriarch has you thinking you're above her. every single nation. All hail to the mother of creation. Let's balance this equation.
All hail to the mother of creation, and we have to balance the equation, and that with upon the principle of my art. What a powerful song. Sometimes I love them kind of music, because have a whole heap of thing where you listen to, but the message is straightforward. All hail to the mother of creation, and we must just that alone. She could have gone and sing that alone. Big up yourself, Mickey B, over there in Belgium. I want you to share that we are on www.fitfmja.com. See, we are on YouTube as well, and we are on Facebook, right? We are in the social media spaces, see? So, and as we say, you can call in, you can send in a message, 876-478-9144, 876-513-6668. 876-513-6668, right? We are here in Trelawney, Jamaica, right? On Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music, right? And we are covering Western Jamaica, and we are covering the world, understand? Seeing? And we are healing up the people over Primal Media, Joel, and we understand that we're having some technical difficulties and we are not over there at the moment, but we are here, and we give thanks to the people who tune in to this afternoon program. We are talking to educator, Pan-Africanist activist, Dana Mattis, they are rare people. We don't find people like her in everyday life, so we have to give someone like Dana Mattis a ear that people can hear her perspective. There's something that I'm going to read here. When the politics have changed, and we are talking about socialism, and we observe how a lot of our people, my sister, don't understand certain language when it comes to us as human. Michael Manley said again, the most important resource in any society is its people. Those same people represent the purpose behind the organization of social justice. Therefore, if a part of the people are unemployed and we are both underutilizing the nation's basic resource and denying the responsibility of social justice, the most important resource in any society is its people. And him go further to say, if we're not really assure the kind of interest in the people, where we see one of our politicians did come out and make a statement that they are irredeemable after them create them to be that, after them build garrisons and just use them to maintain their power structure, and then turn them back and call them irredeemable. People are irredeemable. I don't even know the other term I'm going to put on it. Oh, you see that, Dana Mattis? Are we really investing, in the most important resources here in Jamaica?
You see, you what you said that Michael Manley said about the people are the most important resources that a country has. It's its people. And I think he went on to say that employment then, and I'm taking him to mean full employment.
Yes.
Is important. And it's ironical because capitalism don't want capitalism. Unemployment is a control mechanism, that capitalism uses. Because the more unemployed people you have out there, you have a pool of unemployed people.
Yes.
It's the more you keep your employees, then call it that, the workers, the more you keep labor under control, because labor becomes aware that if I break rank, there are millions out there ready to take my place. So we have underutilized our people, but it has been deliberate. It's deliberate.
Yes.
Yeah. We have not invested in them because, of course, we want them. That goes back again to our constitution and our educational system, or education system that is colonized.
Yes.
We're not educating our people to, there's a saying about you teach a man to fish.
Yes.
And yeah, that saying. Well, it's relevant because we're creating, our education system creates laborers. Laborers.
Yes. Yes.
Laborers.
And that is why
of the capitalist ideology.
And that is why when we talk about decolonization of the education system, right? And this is I got a note from Michael Pomoja again, and this is what I must say. And this is one of the decolonization that we must pay attention to. All pictures of white Jesus would be banned, taken down in Jamaica. It has continued to negatively impact us in so many ways. It's a symbol of oppression. 100% agree with that without any apology. This is a symbol of oppression when our people cannot see within the God within themselves, the image of God within themselves. That's a symbol of oppression. And if you can't wake up out of that, something wrong. You understand? Back to your sister pertaining to underutilization of the most important resource, which is us. And we see not just underutilized, but when you look on the structure of how the system set up, some of our brightest minds have end up left Jamaica and go serve in the same jurisdiction that are out there oppressing us. You know what I mean? They put so much pressure on the people that the people have to left and go work in freedom system with under some of the worst condition too, and then they are so trapped with their colonial mentality that because they may go abroad and work so hard in the system, them come back and believe that they are better than those who remain here, and continue to struggle and fight. So you see, it is like a two-edged sword. You understand? We don't say like a chicken running around, no really know where to go. You understand? A headless chicken. You understand? And this is how the system, create us. And we have to look deep into it, how they constantly, psychologically, and in some way physically undervalue us. So no matter how much we're worth, they make it seem like we're not really worth nothing. Then do it with art, then we do it with music, then do it with even with spirituality.
That's where they started. They started with the spirituality. That's where they started. Because sometimes I say to myself, I cannot understand the black man. You are in Africa and you fashion your idea of your universe. You know, you created some sort of concept of what of your surroundings, of your universe, of your life. You know, because life is an unknown, but
Yes.
man needs to explain its existence, and so he creates a concept. And we created, as in Africa, we created, you know, we fashioned our own ideas of to explain our existence. And along comes the white man, and he tells you that that is wrong. And he introduces to you this foreign concept created by him, and you just throw away what you believe in and you embrace it.
Yes.
The majority of us did. I find it so hard to when I see Black people talking about God and, you know, praying and to God and God Almighty, and I find, because the concept of God is the God that they're worshiping, the God that you know was given to them is a God that don't look like them. So why are you comfortable with it?
I'm glad you use that term there. I'm glad you use. You see what you say right there, so maybe enough people miss it. That God that is being given unto them. One that's sinking, you know, because it's really somebody create a God and said, this you must worship. And so God look. You understand? And
in the Bible, in the Bible, they said that Moses, what is it? Moses, when the children of Israelite or the Israelites or whatever, were Moses went up on the Mount of. Excuse me if I don't know a lot, you know, the right names and things, because to me the Bible is just a fairy tale, honestly. Yeah, it's a collection of very exaggerated stories, you know, parting of the Red Sea and burning bush and all of that.
Our producer and station manager is in awe of your expression. You look like we have to carry you back here many more times. You know? But go ahead.
So when you I think it was Moses went up and to receive the tablets, the 10 Commandments, and when he came down, his brother had created some God and the people were worshiping that God. Well, that is exactly what happened to us in Africa. They created a God that gave it that looked like themselves, and they gave it to us, and they said, this is your God, and this is who you must worship, because everything that you were doing, the images that you created that look like you, they're wrong.
Aye.
That was the first element of control that they exercised over our people, and we fell for it. And we're calling for it too.
Yeah, and if some people out there wonder, well, religion have to do with what we posted our share that we are going to talk about capitalism and socialism. Everything is connected. I could just say this: everything is restored, and I just push people over to Facebook and share their them say everything restore and Primal Network. So we give thanks, you know, that things up back again. You understand? So
but religion is a part of the capitalist ideology, and it's a part of the mechanism, the control mechanism.
It's the machine. Yes, them have to have that, and that's why Walter Rodney was such a threat to the status quo, because you know, he pointed out how they use religion as a tool to manipulate the people. You know,
as
what I
a
mean?
tool. Yeah, it's a tool. And that is what capitalism, you see, capitalism is capital, you know, they talk about scamming.
Yes.
No. And they talk about scammers and things. But capitalism is the biggest and the oldest scam in
Scamming
history.
system. Yes. They're selling the biggest scam too. And one of the scams that they sold the people is that if you work hard, and it's a system of meritocracy, right? That if you work hard or if you do the thing the right way, meaning recently, let me share this video. Recently, I went to a graduation, right? And while I was at the graduation, it was a prep school graduation. And I was listening keenly and watching. And they awarded a young man, you know, for the overall best student. And one of the things that they read that make him get that award is that he respect authority. Just when me hear that, me say, yes. Them going to merit you because within their system, you have this whole thing where you don't question anything. You know, you must respect authority. And this is how they merit you. And this is the system of meritocracy that we are talking about. See? And
you
when
must be a slave to authority. You must be a slave to authority. You must not question anything. Even when it goes against you, when it's anti you as a human being, you must just fall in line. Capitalism requires that everybody toe the line. Because that's the only way you can survive.
And those who question and those who aren't willing, right, to toe the line, you're branded as troublemaker, rebel, socialist, communist, all kind of negative term, right?
You have to get rid of you.
Yeah, and in every way, them use your own people to even try to ridicule you. You know, and when you see these things, you realize, you know, what you are up against. So you have to have a kind of courage, as Toussaint Louverture say. All it needs is a little courage. You know what I mean? To resist this devious and wicked system.
Resist to exist. That is what you have to do. Resist to exist.
What a powerful thing. Resist to exist. You know what I mean? Thank you for that. You know? And this is what I want to ask, you know, seeing, because we see ourselves here as senior. You know what I mean? And when we look around, you know, as a student of the West Indies, you remember the times that you was a part of that institution, and comparing to now, you know, when we talk about reparation, we hear the voice of that coming from people like you, our age bracket. When we talk about even the constitutional reform right now, you know, I don't know, because I haven't come across many young people having any discussion pertaining to that or putting anything forward. Do you think this generation, you know, is less politically astute or educated than the people like our time? Or, you know, we just want you from your observation, what you feel?
This generation, I don't want to say lost, it's lost, because, you know, if it is completely, if they're completely lost, then game over. But what the problem is with this generation, and again, as you said, we were going to discuss capitalism and socialism, that this generation has been totally taken over by capitalism.
Exactly.
Materialism, individualism, It has
Yes.
been, when I say capitalism is a scam,
Ah,
capitalism played the greatest scam on this generation. It's, I mean, the media, is the agent and the instrument of that scam.
yes.
You know, and the current this you know, we talk about the internet and the benefits of the internet and social media and things, but it has its benefits, but it's one of the worst things that could have happened to humanity, you know. The current generation, they're not interested in social justice, they're not interested in history, they're not interested in some of them not even interested in politics. Their
True.
minds have been conditioned to I don't even know how to say, they're trivial.
Yeah.
They're trivial.
Yeah.
And media is there. Media is there using celebrities, and media is a tool of capitalism, and it's a tool.
Yes.
It's a part of the trickery that they have been using against capitalists, the ruling class, the global elite have been using against us to keep us enslaved and to keep capitalism going for years. So the media tells you that you must wear Clarks because it is, you're not anybody unless you're wearing Clarks.
Mm-hmm.
It uses celebrities to create the kind of lifestyle, lifestyle of decadence, lifestyle of overindulgence.
Yes.
And it has colonized the music, because you have hip hop and you have dancehall artists who they're the most visible symbols of this decadence and this overindulgence, and they're telling you that this is what you want, this is what you must want, and you're not a person, you're not living unless you are living according to these prescriptions.
True. And when we talk,
that's the evil of capitalism.
And when you see, this is the thing when we talk about the naked truth, you know. When we talk about the naked truth, it is to point out to people, seeing that we as a people have to check and analyze ourselves. We have to look on our children to see how we become our own destruction with what we are doing, you know? And you know, me have to have you back quick, because me need to talk about even reparation. And even today I was thinking about, say, them give us some money for as reparation. So we get what some 9 point something trillion, dollar where them say, according to the Patterson and Robinson findings recently, right?
Brack report. That was the report.
The Brack report. Yes. Yeah. See? Now, say we get the money there. Me see it gone straight back to Europe, straight by the next 20 minutes or so. I mean, I exaggerate. It come in and it would have just gone out back right to them. Because would I buy Mercedes and would I buy, some people I buy some iron thing and it would be still in their banking system that we not control. So are we really prepare, and are we setting up our people when we talk about reparation? Because we have to go through what we call an intellectual, psychological, spiritual repairing, or before we can even think about the material aspect of reparation. How you see it? How you see it? This is my views. You know, I put it to you. How you see it?
And one of the biggest mistakes that the advocates for reparation is making is should I say this now? Reparations is there are many elements to reparatory justice. And I don't think that it is being articulated by the CARICOM Reparations Commission and all these CARICOM heads of government who have hijacked the system as far as I'm concerned. I don't want them in it, you know. I don't want them in it. Because for years, the Rastafarian community was among the first set of people to talk about repatriation and reparations, and people used to ridicule them. True. The very same people now that talking and beating them chest that them want reparations were the very same people who used to ridicule them and dismiss it. Now, reparations, as I said, there are many elements to it. One is a recognition that slavery, capitalism, and colonialism were illegal, despite the fact that we're being told that it was international law. It was illegal.
Yes.
Secondly, you need to desist from the practices, the continued practices of exploitation, extractivism, trying to control our resources. You need reparations has to be a part of that. And to me, that translates into the destruction of capitalism, because capitalism created slavery. Capitalism created the ideology to go, the racist ideology to justify the enslavement of Africans. So that needs to stop.
Yes.
And the third thing is the neo-colonial relationships, the relationship that now exists, that we need to transition from that. Our reparations not going to be anything, because as you say, give us the 1 point whatever trillion or whatever, and tomorrow it's gone back into your banks.
That's it. It's right back into their system, and that is
the system that existed, and by that system I'm talking about the capitalist system that existed, that created the situation where we now are calling for reparation. If it still exists, if it still survives, then reparations not gonna mean anything.
Precisely. Let me read something from somebody. This look like her from the UK. Her name, she go by Horace Data. She's saying, we are responsible for them being taken over. When we say we are, you know, and we are, and then she said, we must take responsibility. I already taking responsibility, and that's why we're there, so I do this right now. She said, poverty is a scam, yeah? You see, poverty is created by the scammers who create capitalism. This is what we want you to understand, my dear sister, Orius Data, that poverty is a creation by the people who control power. You know what I mean? So when you say poverty is a scam, you have to give us a clear definition of what you mean that poverty is a scam. You must give us a clear definition. You see,
because when you, but because to me that sounds like it. That sounds like it's like when Kanye West said slavery was a choice.
And
So
you know,
is
sir,
the person saying that that poverty is a choice? That sounds to me like the person is saying that poverty is a choice, and it's not. Peter Tosh
And
said that
you
the rich man's heaven, the rich man's heaven is the poor man's hell. You need poverty. You need poverty to create the class system is about the poverty at the expense of the enrichment of a minority of people who own the means of production.
Sure. You know, and that is why I would say with our young people, if you understand the history, and history is what we are using now, you know, to see where we are. And I am saying to our young people, rather being on your phone, you know what I mean? You need to find some of the book them what we are talking about. And we are going to direct you to some book like How Europe Underdeveloped Africa, a book like The Wretched of the
Everybody must read that. You have to read that. You must.
If you are going to talk about what we are talking about, if you want to get clear understanding and clarity of what we are, you must read our revolutionaries. You must study Kwame Ture. You know, you must study the Cuban Revolution. You must. You understand? You know, you must study Frantz Fanon, The Wretched of the Earth. You must go deep into these things. If you understand the perspective that we are coming from, you must also go and study Herrick Williams, Capitalism and Slavery, and you will get you will get a clearer definition. So if you are lazy and want to go do some research to understand where we are, because as Marcus Garvey said, you know, if you don't know your history, you're like a tree without a root. You understand? And this is where we find ourselves right now. Seeing, you know, we use social media and there's a line in our poem we use: robotic, digital, technological slavery. Yes, I say, and this is where we find ourselves right now, in a time of robotic, digital, technological, AI manipulated slavery, artificial intelligence,
control,
where it is totally about control. You know, whether or not we study it and understand how to use it, you know, we see that it is still a control mechanism that is under the governorship, let me use a term there, you know, of the people who control the World Economic Forum and
the capitalists.
Yeah.
The global capitalism.
Yes. You understand? And until some people want to remain in the just in the mood of there's a term that they use in America, right? They popularize it in America during the civil rights movement. Integration. See? Most of our people just want to be integrated and then don't understand what fundamental liberty means. So they rather to be integrated. And what we will understand about integration, you sit down at the master's table, but you're not my equal. You're just here. And if you just scratch your throat too much, we will show you who really have the authority. And that is what integration means. That is how I see it. You understand? And I believe a lot of our young people, you know, that's what they want to do. We just want to live and have a good time. Just a little thing there. You know? Sing, dance, and sweet.
Material precepts, materialistic, that materialism is what they're being fed. And that is why, as the person said, we came here to have the conversation about capitalism. That is capitalism. That is, and the person who made that comment about poverty is what, is trickery or a scam?
Poverty is a scam. Yeah.
Yeah, that is an example of how capitalism has managed, succeeded in controlling people's thinking. Because what that person is saying is that there is a meritocracy, and all you need to do is pull up yourself by your own bootstrap and you will succeed. And that is not that's what capitalism tell you. But the system is not structured for you to succeed. It's not structured for the whole to succeed. It's structured for a minority of at the top who control capital, who control the productive base, who control the means of production. Karl Marx called it the means of production. It's for them to succeed, and they have been tricking, they've been using trickery, and they've been scamming us for centuries. I mean, and it's a minority. It's a minority that has succeeded, and we have, as slaves, have upheld that in unequal system that exists, that keeps us exactly where they want us. We have to sell our labor because man started as communal, you know. Man, the community. He knew, and that's where socialism comes in, and that is where socialism is trying to get back to that original state of man as
the primordial being, man existing within him community. Don't see any lesser than or any greater than. You know, when I see you, I see me. You know what I mean? I am because you are because I am. The principle of Ubuntu, our Africanness. That's what we are. That's spiritual expression of ourselves. You understand? And we are unapologetic when it comes to these things. You know what I mean? We have to express ourselves in that kind of truthfulness, you know, that people can understand it clearly.
If we want to go back to our to Africa, where we all came from, you wouldn't see when this sort of community that we're talking about, it means that you wouldn't see that your neighbor don't have anything to eat and you have an abundance of food and you don't offer it to them.
And this is
what capitalism is about.
And this is what capitalism is about. The thing, I don't even like the term creating wealth, because what we have learned from even with great intellectual revolutionary Walter Rodney Kwame Ture, that where there is excess amount of wealth, there is also excess amount of exploitation. See? And this is what we must pay attention to. You understand? You want to acquire wealth, and the first thing, you're wealthy, but around you there are many hungry people. How that help you? And that is, you know, recently I was listening to a young man that they assassinated, because him as somebody where them assassinated him thinking, because is I believe his mother or his auntie was a part of the Black Panther movement. Tupac Shakur, you know, Assata Shakur, see, listen to him Cuba as a revolutionary, see. He was questioning that. He was saying, how this make any sense that I have 20 million and my brothers around me have nothing, you know? How it work? Tupac was questioning that in the 90s, you know. So they were paying attention to this young rapper with this kind of mindset and realize his connection with the Black Panther Party, and knowing, just like what they did to people like Jimi Hendrix, Sam Cooke, and others who did decide that they would support, you know what I mean, the revolutionary movement to liberate our people. They all poison them and oof, dead, you know, and that is the brutal system of capitalism. My dear sister, you know, just scratch the surface. And when on year and half year when me attack, sometimes it end up in 2.5, 3 hours. See, you know, you understand, and you know, I am so glad that we make this connection, and you know, say you're going to be a fixture as according to the producer, you know, on this program. You understand? We have to talk some more. Very soon.
I am so glad for the opportunity. I'm so glad. You know, sometimes I feel like I'm talking to myself, you know. So so, you know, and I really want to try, you know, as I said, this is our social, it's our social purpose to try and reach our people, to educate them. You know, and it is to get this understanding, you know, because as I was saying to you in off the air conversation, that I think a lot of people who are activists for change, they don't understand that capitalism is the basis, is the foundation of our oppression, you know.
Of course, and until we face that.
And they don't understand. I mean, they speak of reforms. You cannot reform capitalism to get to that state that you want to get to. Capitalism has to be destroyed, because it was capitalism who came in as an ideology and upset that socialism then. That community state that we came out of by expropriating the wealth. Wealth now became concentrated into the hands of a minority. And the rest of us became laborers, and to survive we had to sell our labor to them, and that is where the control came in, because now we had no alternative.
True. My dear sister, we're on the wire, and we are going to talk again. I am happy that you accept the invitation. Anytime, Imara, anytime. Yes, so we give thanks, and we give thanks to those who tune in, across the world. We give thanks to Mickey B for that piece of music, and more you link up with Julia. Yeah, I mean. And because she liked the music, and listen, keep in tune to Fit FM, my sister over there in Belgium. You understand, we're on a movement, and Fit FM is the center that we focusing on, and we have to say, keep on logging on and tuning in to www.fitfmja.com. and follow us on the social media spaces, and tune into the station. And those in Jamaica, member 96.7 FM, your life, your music. This is the community boss. This is Imara, the musical revolutionary. We'll see you next round. Next round, we're going to talk to a sister from Trelawney and maybe somebody from the music fraternity. Two guests, and the sister is a sister who is a similar conversation like this, because she's doing great works, and she's now based in Ghana, and we're looking forward to that discourse next week. Stay strong, my people. Love on yourself, and know that we are rich, but we must claim our richness. We must reclaim it and own it. Right? That is it. Love and light. Jah guide. Until next strong, because we now get weak under this.